Thailand's Prime Minister Shreta Thavisin has praised Hindu values and said as the world struggles with turmoil and inspiration should be taken from the religion of non-violence, truth, tolerance and harmony in order to establish peace. The Thai Prime Minister was supposed to participate in the third edition of the World Hindu Congress, which is held every 4 years with an aim to establish the identity of Hindus in the world. However, he could not attend the event in Bangkok due to some reasons and his message was read out in the meeting. Thavisin said that it was an honor for Thailand to host the World Hindu Congress organized on the principles and values of Hinduism. Well, the RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat also gave an address during the inaugural session and appealed to Hindus across the world to reach out to each other and connect with the world together. He said, and I quote, "We have to reach out, connect with every Hindu, and Hindus together will connect everybody in the world. As Hindus are connected in more numbers, the process of connecting with the world has also started." Other big faces like Swami Mitranand from Chinmaya Mission and Sri Subhash Thakrar, former chairman, London Chamber of Commerce, also attended the conference and hailed the Hindu religion in their own ways. Now, as this development takes place, Thailand once again has managed to show the profound and enduring influence of Hinduism on Thai culture and religion. Although Theravada Buddhism is the official religion of Thailand, with over 90% of the population identifying as Buddhist, Hindu elements are deeply embedded in Thai art, literature, festivals and rituals. This syncretic blend of Hinduism and Buddhism is a testament to the long history of cultural exchange between India and Thailand. The syncretic nature of Thai religion is evident in many aspects of daily life. For example, it is common for Thai people to worship both Buddhist and Hindu deities at the same temple. Many Thai festivals also incorporate Hindu elements, such as the Songkran Water Festival, which is based on the Hindu festival of Holi. Well, not just this, Hinduism has also played a significant role in the history and culture of Cambodia, leaving an indelible mark on its art, literature and religious traditions. While Theravada Buddhism is the predominant religion in Cambodia today, Hindu influences are still evident in various aspects of Cambodian life. Hindu deities are prominently featured in Cambodian art and architecture. Sculptures and paintings of Hindu gods and goddesses adorn temples, palaces and homes. Some of the most revered Hindu deities in Cambodia include Shiva, the destroyer god, Vishnu, the preserver god, and Brahma, the creator god. Well, adding on to this, Balinese Hinduism, also known as Agama Hindu Dharma, is the form of Hinduism practiced by the majority of the population of Bali in Indonesia. It is a distinct form of Hindu worship that incorporates local animism, ancestor worship, and reverence for Buddhist saints or bodhisattvas. Balinese Hinduism is characterized by its emphasis on ritual art and music, and it plays a central role in the daily lives of Balinese people. Well, however, at the same time, something very different can be seen when we talk about the West. On your screen, you can see some very prominent media houses blatantly bashing Hinduism, which says a lot about the Western mentality. This is not the first time when a bunch of foreign media is calling out one of the oldest religions in the world without any particular reason, for forcing us to just see the Western picture. And as we go into our discussion today, we're in fact going to take a closer look at the growing influence of Hinduism in the South Asian parts of the world. Joining us live at this point is Vikram Sampath, historian. Vikram, in fact, joins us from Bangkok, Thailand, where the World Hindu Congress is currently underway. Vikram Sampath, welcome to the show. Thank you for being with us. Firstly, how do you react to what the Thai PM has come out and said on Hinduism and Hindu values?
Thank you, Uday, and great to be talking to you right from the scene of action, where over the last 2 days, I think we've witnessed a great, confluence of minds from various fields, whether it's politics, economy and business, media, literature, history, and various fields, the arts, performing arts, popular culture, all representing the Hindu view of life. And I think what the Thai Prime Minister has said encapsulates in a beautiful way that we are probably the only non-proselytizing, non-predatory faith of the world, which has looked at the whole world, as one universe, one family, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that we've always propounded. We've always, stood for the fact that there is one truth, but there are multiple paths to it. There is no my way or the highway, where, if you do not belong to my hallowed club or don't have membership to it, then you are relegated to an inferior, quality of life, or it is the ordained duty of the faithful to convert you to your viewpoint either by force and coercion or through allurements. So today, while the world grapples with so much of strife and conflict and turbulence and turmoil, I think what he says is so appropriate, that Hinduism can provide this balm and this coming together of minds, because we allow every stream of thought to be accommodated. There is no concept of blasphemy in the Sanatan Dharma. There is no concept of heresy. You can be a Charvak, you can be an so-called Nirishwarvadi, which is an intranslatable into English as an atheist, and still be termed as a Sanatani, within the Hindu rubric. So I think this rediscovery of what the meaning of Hinduism is, I think also comes so appropriately at a time when, as you rightly said, you're having conferences globally which are talking for dismantling one of the most peaceful, one of the most non-threatening faiths of the world.
Yes.
You're having people within India, politicians for petty politics, calling for eradication of the Sanatan Dharma, calling it, a virus, all kinds of other expletives. At such a time, for world leaders to actually recognize this, and for a conclave like this to happen, I think these are extremely wonderful, coincidences which are very timely and important.
Just take us through, what the feeling like is for you to be attending it actually, and what the kind of discussions there are on. Who else is in attendance? What the attendees feel about it, and what some of the discussions and the thoughts, the takeaways from the conference are, Vikram.
Yeah, so I think this is my first experience ever. I come to understand that this is the third edition of the conference, okay. And last two happened in 2014 and 18. The third was to happen in 2022, but was postponed to 23 because of the pandemic. And through these 2 days, I think we've seen such a vast number of fellow Hindus coming from different parts of the world, and a lot of them, most often, Uday, when we are in our own cocoons, our own silos, we feel we are having the biggest problems that we are facing in the respective fields that we are working. I think a conclave like this, which brings together other people, you get to learn a lot from their experience. You share your experiences, your best practices, whatever you have done to circumvent your problems, and learn from each other. And this also gives you some kind of hope and inspiration to also carry on with your work. So over these 3 days, there have been multiple parallel tracks that have happened in education, economy and business, youth and women related issues. There's also on popular culture, on media, all of these discussions happening simultaneously. Some of the best minds in all these fields coming over. Of course, the inauguration was done by Dr. Mohan Bhagwat, the Sarsanchalak of the RSS, and also a galaxy of spiritual leaders, including Her Holiness, Mata Amritanandamai, who was there, and some of the other, saints and sadhus who've come from different parts of India, some even from outside, including Sri Lanka and other countries. So it's a wonderful blend, I think, of not only spiritual and esoteric matters that are being discussed, but also day-to-day issues, like I spoke about business and economy and politics, and how to have that Hindu voice. I happened to meet the governor of one of the provinces of Sri Lanka, who is a Hindu, and who's also talking about his issues there. So it's been a very wide and eclectic range, I think, of speakers and profiles, and from so many different countries. As far as I know, about 60 countries being represented, several thousands of delegates who have literally, we've made a mini India here in the 3 days that we've come here. There's a lot of Indian cuisine. People here are also, I think, the local Thai are trying our cuisine too, which is, I think, one of very important elements of soft diplomacy for our country.
Yes, absolutely. And, if we talk also now, Vikram, about the kind of contrasting picture, though. So as, in my introduction, I said that this is what the Southeast Asia, diaspora, heads of state and people feel about Hinduism. about Hindu values. In fact, many of them have imbibed it too in their daily lives, both in Thailand and in Indonesia and in the other Southeast Asian nations as well. And then we look at the Western picture, the kind of comments made by foreign media outlets on the same religion. What does this contrast really tell us?
I mean, Western media is still understandable, but the irony is Indian politicians, Indian so-called leaders, and Indian media houses also adding voice and amplifying that, and they facing no consequence. I mean, an Udayanidhi Stalin or Raja or anybody else can actually go on platforms and talk for an eradication of one of the oldest living faiths of the world, which, as I said, has been totally, non-predatory, non-threatening of anyone, one of the most peaceful faiths, and they've not faced any consequence so far, which itself shows. I mean, if the same had been said of some of the other, faiths in India, we saw what happened in the aftermath of what Nupur Sharma said. There were riots in different parts of India, unfortunate beheadings, and so on. But nobody has really reacted to even something as terrible as has been said here. And of course, the Western bias is so deep. Like I mentioned, just I think last year or so, we had this infamous conference in the US called Dismantling Global Hindutva. And over the 3 days, there were so many speakers with a definite anti-India, anti-Hindu bias who were invited there. And while on the first day, they were talking of Hindutva and Hinduism being separate, which it is not. It's actually the Sanskrit word for the same, the twa suffix being the state of being, and that is why, ism translates what is in English into Hindutva. And by the third day of that infamous conference, everyone was saying to dismantle Hindutva, you need to eradicate Hinduism. So I think this is one country which has lasted so many invasions, and historically, and as a historian, it warms my heart that we are the only pre-Bronze Age era civilization which is still surviving. We've done that on the basis of not only the spiritual, strength that we've had, but also a lot of physical, resistance that we have offered to a series of invaders who have come. Despite that, and I think that is what hits the eye of most of the Western academics or the media houses, which want this to go. And your comment on the Southeast Asian connect too, I mean, has a long history, right? From the Mauryan times, when Buddhist monks were sent to all these parts of the world by Ashoka and others to spread the word of the Buddha. And of course, during the Chola times, where we never, someone like Rajendra Chola sent his naval fleet in 1025 CE to attack and conquer Srivijaya in this locality, in this area. We never colonized these places. He could have well made these Indian colonies and part of the dominion, but then our whole effort was to spread cultural osmosis. And so we see the imprint of that even in Singapore. You see Tamil being one of the languages. You see, yes, as you rightly mentioned, in Bali, in many places here. In Indonesia, though it's a Muslim country, you have Bhagwan Ram as one of their icons. You have the Ram Leela that is performed there. And the king, the emperor here is also called as Ram in Thailand. We see streets here being named as Ram. So there's been...
You have it in Cambodia too.
Cambodia
like we're putting
too,
on our screens, yes.
That's right. And so I think the cultural influence has far outlived the political or economic colonization that our colonizers did, with the might and brute force and power that we were invaded, colonized, occupied. We have managed to shed that. But the cultural, osmosis that Bharat has managed to do over the several centuries, that still lives on. And that, I think, is the inherent strength of our civilization. And this is what hurts, biased elements in the Western as well as in the Indian setup, which do not want to emphasize these aspects of our past.
Okay, my final question to you before we let you go, Vikrama, on even as we see these the conflicts on in the world today and the power games that often play out, do you believe the world does have a lot to learn from Hinduism, from Hindu values for global peace, prosperity. There is a lot to imbibe and learn. The Thai PM has certainly made a statement in that direction. Perhaps it's time for much of the other world too to learn the same.
Indeed. Like I mentioned right in my opening comments too, we do not have one prescribed path to take, one gospel truth, one book, one leader. We allow a multiplicity of views. The Astic and the Nastic traditions of our philosophy have allowed mushrooming of multiplicity of ideas. There's no heresy. You can do a ninda stuti of your God, and God is not seen as someone who lives in a separate planet, totally far removed from you. And we've never been believers, we've been seekers, right from the oldest literature of humanity. The Rig Veda, the Nasadiya Sukta that is there in that, talks of the birth of the universe, while the rest of religions have timetables. On the sixth day God created this and God created that and so on. Here is a faith which tells all of that, and there is a lot of skepticism. Is that it? Even probably he doesn't know. Does he sit somewhere in some high skies and actually created the universe? Who knows? He also may not know. I think this whole element of discovery, which is given to a seeker, is the fundamental strength of Hinduism, or Sanatan Dharma as we know it. We are the only faith which also has a divine feminine. Where nowhere else do we have in the other major faiths of which are surviving today, the non-pagan, the Abrahamic faiths. We do not have the concept of woman as being a divine feminine which is worshipped. We are probably one of the most liberal faiths which allow every creed, every thought, different sexual orientations. Everything is allowed, everything is embraced. There is nothing that is shunned away. Of course, there are elements which have been, of our social order, social systems. There have been a decadence of society, which down the centuries we've had oppression between peoples and so on. And we've always also stood for reform. And that doesn't start now through affirmative action, through post-independent, initiatives. Even from times immemorial, right from a Ramanujacharya who gave the mantra to all castes, saying, if that is going to take you to heaven, then I'd go to hell, and I'd disseminate this mantra, the Ashtakshari mantra, to all of you. So social reformers, the Bhakti movement, which has happened, in the 13th, 14th centuries. Then of course, later you had people like Swami Vivekananda, Sri Aurobindo, Dayanand Saraswati, Ramana Maharshi. All these people have always striven for reforms, in the society, in the religious practices, whenever decadence has set in. So it's a constantly evolving, constantly growing stream of knowledge. And that's why it's Sanatan, it's eternal. It believes in no dogmatic principles. These are universal principles, which are there for all of humanity. And I think today, when the world faces so much conflict, so much turbulence, these healing bonds, this balm of coming together, I think Hinduism has an answer to give to the world. And we as Indians, as Bharatiyas, where this faith has originated, it's our duty and responsibility to ensure that this message of our faith is carried out to the rest of the world, and not really, the ones who are out to dismantle it, deconstruct it, eliminate it, calling it all kinds of names and, expletives. I think it's our duty, responsibility to ensure that the right message about this country, our civilization, and our faiths and belief systems are transmitted to the rest of the world.
All right. Thank you so much, Vikram Sampath, for joining us on NewsX, all the way from Bangkok, where, of course, this Congress is happening. And good luck to the organizers, and enjoy the rest of that conference there in Thailand. Let me also join very quickly Pandit Satish K. Sharma here. He's Director, Global Hindu Federation. He's joining us from London. Or rather, he's also joining us from Bangkok. He's, of course, the Director of the Global Hindu Federation, London. Welcome, Pandit Satish Sharma. Thank you so much for being with us today. I think you're also perhaps there to attend the World Hindu Congress. How is your experience there so far, Pandit Sharma? And also, as far as these comments are concerned by the Thai Prime Minister What do you read into them?
Firstly, Udayji, Jai Shri Rama to you and to everybody in Bharat. And saying Jai Shri Rama here in Bangkok seems to have an extra dimension of warmth to it. Before responding to your question, I'd just like to acknowledge the hospitality with which the Thai people have received us, embraced us, and looked after us. It really has felt like family. And so the comments and the remarks made by the Thai Prime Minister are entirely consistent with the way in which the conference is being held and the way in which we've been welcomed here. It's been quite wonderful. I have to share with you, though, that it's been a remarkable experience being in such a safe space. You know, it struck me that almost everywhere where Hindus are in the diaspora, whether we're in the United Kingdom or whether we're in America, and in fact, even in Bharat, there is an eternal, ever-present hand just keeping us down, just keeping us under control, making sure we don't step too far out of line. And yet here at this conference for 3 days, we have had a gathering of Hindus from all over the world, and I've almost sensed an expansion of affection, of strength, of love, and of a sense of unity expanding. And so that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. My compliments to the organizers of the Congress itself, the conference itself, in what they have achieved. I would also share with you that much of my work tends to be on the areas of civilizational boundaries, where there's a great deal of friction, there's a great deal of potential for conflict, as we're seeing in other parts of the world. And what I have learned and received from being here is a vast amount of wisdom and experience that Hindus have been having all over the world. It's been quite unique. I'm absolutely delighted to be here, and I don't think I could have asked for or expected anything more than what we've been able to achieve and share here. So I'm very positive. One other thing I'd share with you is all of the Hindus and the conversations that have been happening here, they all have one very interesting dimension, and that is that everybody is keen to take the positive energy and the wisdom and the learning and the support that they've acquired here back to their own countries and to make an even bigger contribution using the, shall we say, the support that we've been able to give each other in our own home countries where we're living and where we're working. And that too has been a lovely, wonderful experience to be a part of.
Absolutely. Let me also quickly draw in Sarah L. Gates, Director, Hindu Human Rights, who's joining us live from Melbourne. Sarah, what do you make of the, of the impact that, Hindu values are having at the World Hindu Congress in Bangkok? The Thai diaspora there, learning, imbibing Hinduism. The Prime Minister also making this very, very pertinent, topical and significant remarks on the religion and its teachings.
Namaskar, thank you for inviting me to speak. As you may know by now, this is my passion as well. I've been doing a very long part-time PhD trying to understand these very same values which are, being promoted as some kind of, I think they are a panacea. If the world embraces especially the two primary values of truth and non-violence, I think we'll go a long way to resolving most of the world's problems, because a lot of those problems stem from a sense of, dishonesty, being out of harmony, out of sync with the world order, the cosmic order and nature, and we're part of nature. And if there's anything that can teach us our place within nature, it's yoga and the principles of yoga, and they can teach us, how to behave, how to restrain ourselves from, committing acts that could harm others, how to recognize that the same Atman that lives in the heart of yourself lives in the heart of all living beings. So there's a tiny piece of the universal consciousness that abides within everything that lives and breathes. And, everything, in fact, is all part of that consciousness. So if we could just understand that, and recognize that we're all one. We really are one family, one people, and we really do share one future. I believe that we have at least some kind of benchmark and a goalpost, something to work towards, and we can do that together. So I'm a staunch advocate for yoga. meditation. They've called it mindfulness. So I'm pleased to see that in the agenda of the World Hindu Congress, we're looking at things like representation of Hindus in the media, vilification, anti-Hindu hatred, and also looking at how advanced education, university education, and I think it really needs to start looking at education from primary school. To understand what Hinduism really means. And if you're going to start talking about Hindu Dharma and Hindutva rather than Hinduism, then we're going to need to educate people about what that actually means and the significance of Hindu-ness, because there's a far larger way of life for Hindus and yoga practitioners who are practicing Hindu Dharma. There is already a way of life that surrounds this, which brings in the principles and the values and, you know, really committing to something higher, a higher purpose for humanity in your everyday life with every breath that you take. So, you know, I think that it's nice to hear from Vikram and Satish ji that everybody's gathering together and that they're committed to bringing those values back out into their respective diasporas, because right now that's what the world needs. We really need to understand that all human beings, all living creatures, everything has that same spirit of consciousness abiding in their hearts. And if we could listen to our own hearts, we might be able to overcome some of these, I think, like Satish was talking about, these differences, and particularly against Hindus. There's a lack of understanding that this is actually where we're coming from. We're coming from the heart. We're coming from a place of truthfulness, and, you know, really, I think if anyone can, I guess, answer for, you know, righteousness and a path toward righteousness, we've already seen how effective, and I know this is going to be contentious, but the Satyagraha movement, that truth force movement, has inspired environmentalists all over the planet, and they didn't need to use violence. So the violence that we're seeing, the hatred toward other groups, that's been contingent to this social justice regime that's basically just now spread out around the world. This is based on a level of contempt toward your opponents and a lack of understanding, and, you know, to a large extent that we've seen hate crimes coming from the same groups of activists that have been targeting Hindus for many years now. So I believe that Hinduism, or Hindu Dharma, and if we could explain what Hindutva actually means to the world at large, they may be able to come to some understanding, and it may give them the tools and the strategies that they need to ground some principles in their activism. Because we do have good examples of that, but, you know, what we want, our vision has to be consistent, and I think that vision needs to be a more harmonious civilization, global civilization, which Hindu traditions can help to bring, better understanding of one another and acknowledgement of our equality in that spirit of consciousness, and you know, all of this helps to lift other people up and put other people before ourselves, which is a social justice mechanism. Doing our duty, doing our service without attachment to the fruits. These are the kind of higher principles that Dharmic traditions do bring to society, and they certainly can help to resolve some of the problems that we're facing, whether it's ecology or the culture or the society, even the politics, the geopolitics. This vision, one world, one family, one future, this is a Dharmic value, and I believe that we need that now more than ever. And if you want to understand it, practice yoga.
Absolutely. Dharmayasa, let me bring you in here as well. Priest joining us from Malta in Italy. Dharmayasa, your thoughts on this World Hindu Congress, the message that hopefully will be spread there in Thailand, and already the kind of reactions that have begun pouring in, including from the Prime Minister, on the Hindu values and, the Hindu religion and its teachings.
Yeah, just happy to be with you again here, and I wish success for the Hindu Congress. Sadly, I couldn't join this. What the Prime Minister of Thailand mentioning about Hinduism, I think it's he catch the Hinduism perfectly. What is Hinduism? So it's the value. Hindu is not what is defined by people nowadays, especially as a religion. It's not that one, but it's a value of life, value of everything. That's why Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita said, I am everything. Like, for example, Rasoham Apsu Konte, Rasoham, I am the taste, the value of the water. And so many things Sri Krishna said about that. But like Arab visitor to India, make a definition about Hindu. I think it's not that one. But Hindu, what is Hindu? And who is Hindu? What is Hindu? Hindu, that Hinam Dushyati, Hinam, all kind of bad things, negativity, well, all kind of bad things, Dushyati, finish, minimize, and destroy. That is Hindu. Hindu is what will minimizing or destroying all kind of badness. That is Hindu. And when we go to the scriptures, which the only say dharma or religion, the only one has unlimited scriptures, unlimited undescribable scriptures. That is Hindu, because through the scriptures we bring all kind of light, all kind of value of the life, and that is Hindu. And who is Hindu? Who are Hindus? That is Hinasti Dosan. Hinasti means one who destroys, one who finishes, one who completely cut all kind of dosan. Dosan means all kind of weaknesses, all kind of badness, all kind of crime. So they are Hindu. They are Hindus. So for this, how to do? In our Indonesian tradition of Hinduism practices, we have many ways to be a Hindu, to be an ideal Hindu, to be a good Hindu. That is through Tapa, Brata, Yoga, Samadhi. I'm pronouncing this as Balinese, we pronounce it. Tapa, Brata, Yoga, Samadhi. And then through ceremony, and then through recitation of our scripture. So these three, I want to underline as what we receive from our ancient tradition. The Tapa, Brata, Yoga, Samadhi, that you go inside through doing some fasting, doing some Tapa penances, and doing yoga, and then not only yoga as yoga practice, but yoga as Samadhi. That's why in Indonesia, in Bali and Java, we have the definition of meditation is Samadhi. It's not definition of meditation is not dhyana or not meditation, but definition of meditation is Samadhi. Till we reach the peak of the meditation. So through Tapa, Brata, Yoga, Samadhi, you become an ideal Hindu. And then through ceremony. In Bali, we have said a lot of ceremony. Every step of our life, it's filled by ceremony. From the womb of our mother, we have that magadong-gadongan, we call it, a very special ceremony. Then when we take bath, and then 3 months of the child. So we say we do this. We are purifying our life from the beginning. We entered the womb of the mother till we leave this world, till the end of our life, and then recitation of scripture. So this we have in Bali, like we call it macarita, like katha. Before children going to bed, our father, mother, or grandfather, grandmother used to tell us story of Ramayana and Mahabharata. The power of scripture is purifying the mind of the children from beginning of life. So this is Hindu, and this kind of Hindu is not new Hindu, but it's Hindu always new. So this is Hindu. I think that what I can say, the value of life, the value of everything.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.